Hello, wealthy family. I hope you can hear me. I didn't want to hold my phone, so I'll put it down. Not going to be long because I literally just have a break. I'm taking this course, so we just went on break for a little bit, but I had to jump right back into it. But I wanted to pop in, say hey to y'all, just mention a couple of things and then go right back off. By the way, for all my cousins out there who love melanin as much as I do, go to melaninpeople.net, please, and sign up rather. Look for me on there, Ascending Infinite Goddess. I'm in a yellow dress on that picture. So go check me out over there. I love that platform. All about information and growth. So it's important right now for that. It's important for us to be together. So y'all go check me out over there. Appreciate you all. But yeah. Anyway, like I said, I don't have long because I have to get back into my course. Hi, I don't know who's on, but I see someone's watching. So, oh, Brandy, what up, Pisces? What up, girl? You can't go to melanated.people.net, right? Brandy, sorry. Send Reese over there, though. But let's talk about what's happening right now. Because there's a lot of distractions. There's a lot of things that keep happening. And it's like, is this real? What is happening to 2020? How many people started this year and was ready to make ish happen? Who? Sorry, you can stay on Facebook, girl. But how many people were ready to go? Like on go. And then World War III, and then COVID, and the lockdown, and quarantine, and the bubonic plague, and killer wasp, and what the fuck? So, I say it's all a distraction. Not saying that these things aren't real. Again, let me put the disclaimer out there. These things are real. But it's a distraction because what does that have to do with the real things that's happening? You know what else is happening in this world? There's hundreds of thousands of children that are being rescued. These politicians are going on trial. There's trials happening. They're shutting down slave trades in many countries. There's many countries that are on lockdown with low cases of this virus. China, where this all happened, has opened up and has started doing additional things. But now, with them being locked down, there were certain investigations that were opened during that time. And right now, they're averaging about, I think they said 10 new charges against China, or indictments or some shit to China an hour on average. TikTok, that has been spreading like wildfire, has been confirmed to be buying and selling information. And the apps, oh, I'm glitching, I don't care. And the apps' main influencers have left the platform. There's bigger things happening. Joe Biden, a very old white man, has been shown to not have the highest cognitive abilities. COVID is high in new cases because of testing. Duh. Because they were backed up and now it's still coming in. But also, the deaths are lower. There's not a lot of deaths. And there's a lot of people who have always followed the protocols and the guidelines and are still getting sick. So that's why I say it's all a distraction. Because right now what's also happening in the cosmos, in the stars, on our planet, with the sun, that these people also know about, is that 2020 is a time where information, the sun is shifting. So shadows are no longer existing. That's the best way I can say it without sounding cuckoo bird. So if you think that, you know, the terms, the freaks come out at night, and, you know, werewolves are on full moons, and oh, the energy of this, and vampires and all that shit, that's just cuckoo bullshit that they put on to make you be scared of this information. But if you follow zodiacs, if you follow horoscopes, if you follow the Bibles in its science text and dates and how things move, now is the time that all those things have been talking about with ascension, the rapture, whatever you want to call it. It's not people floating off into the sky. It's your mind ascending. It's your mind growing. It's you taking in new information. Because the sun ascending is moving, rather, I should say. It's changing the way how things happen. So, don't do that. Okay. So now is the time for you to stop falling into the same old habits and patterns, because that's not working anymore. Waiting for Social Security to be your retirement plan is not working anymore, because things are shifting. Information is changing. The cosmos is calling for it. And these people know that. That's why they keep giving you things to not be focused on that. But now is the time for you to grow as a person. Now is the time for you to leave that job that you hate. Now is the time for you to leave that relationship that drains you of that energy. Now is the time to let go of that binding religion that doesn't allow your mind to grow. Now is the time for you to say, you know what, I'm going to figure out who I am as a person. What makes me happy? Now is the time to meditate, because now that is all supported. Never, ever, ever in the history of ever has the government said, here's some money, unemployment, file that shit. Stimulus checks, send that shit. Second check, send that shit. Small business people, let's fund them up. And it's not the first time that businesses have been bailed out on a large scale. The banks have been bailed out. The car industry has been bailed out. The airlines have been bailed out. It's just this time people got extra food stamps, extra medical benefits. And I know some people are saying they haven't gotten it, but on a majority of the scale, the majority of people I know have received something. So now is the time to start saying, you know what, I'm going to take that leap of faith. And I'm going to stop worrying about, you know, this new virus. Just like how we stopped worrying about swine flu, that they also tried to mandate vaccines for, and that they also called a pandemic. I put the video clip from the news. That was back when the news used to actually be investigative and would go out and search for information and expose people and their corruption. But the government shut that down through Operation Mockingbird. You can look that up too. It's real. But they don't want you to look that stuff up. We want to keep you distracted. One thing that I have found in my vast experience of life, traveling with my 100-year-old grandfather, who is a registered Republican, who is from the islands, but also in his century of life has lived in many countries and many states of this world because he's a farmer. So I've been around a lot of old people. And all of the old white people that I know all have a little hint of racism in them, whether they're aware of it or not. And I'm not saying that all old white people are bad. I'm not saying that. I have plenty in my circle who are righteous. And I love that. Because again, we're talking about spiritual warfare. But what I'm saying is, the whole common denominator is just the time they grew up in. They got a little bit of racism in them. But you set them straight, you educate them, and they're like, oh shit, I didn't even know that. I just heard my grandpappy say it and I thought it was okay. They're like, I have black grandbabies, you know what I'm saying? So they don't understand always what it is. But I will tell you this, Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders and all the other old white people in the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, they all have a little bit of racism in them. And the people that are running on the platform right now have the most. And they just started realizing that, oh snap, people are getting hip to the game. So let's start changing some things and kind of make it placid for people. But they're ushering in things that is not going to benefit our people still. So stop feeding that old idea. It's time for that old idea to go. It's time to realize that we are all spiritual beings. But right now, people who look like me and my husband and my children and my mother and my aunts and my uncles and my spiritual coaches, people who look like us are being targeted. So, how do you defeat that? How do you protect yourself, and how do you build your spiritual warfare? How do you get rid of the illusions? How do you get rid of the distractions? It's time to get rid of the distractions. It's time to turn off the TV. It's time to stop worrying about what these people are talking about. And it's time to start embracing change. In whatever way, shape, form that may come. It's time to let go of the toxic behaviors. It's time to start focusing on us. It's time to start meditating. It's time to start eating healthy. It's time to start figuring out how this money is working. Gold has risen over $1,800 in sharing prices. Meanwhile, the paper currency is still bumpkiss. But gold is rising. It's important to follow that stuff. It's time to let go of the old ideas of keeping your money in the stock market, because Trump is trying to hold it down as long as he can. The market is supposed to fluctuate. It's supposed to fluctuate. But it's time for you to get your money up out of there and put it in something that's going to be secured. Because in a minute, the paper currency is going to be obsolete. They're already moving to a cashless society. They're already attempting that by saying that the cash is carried on by the virus, or the virus is carried by the cash. So when I punch my number in on the keypad, what you mean? It's all a distraction. So it's time to get up out of that. It's time to start elevating. It's time to start jumping on the slingshot is being pulled back and we about to catapult out this motherfucker. But it's time for you to start opening your mind and being receptive to that shit. Now's the time to start realizing, okay, they've been dividing us so long with division, with religion, with our gender preferences, with everything. It's time to start bringing back the nucleus family. It doesn't make sense for a transgender man and a transgender woman to get together and adopt a child and raise that child in flipping confusion. There's absolutely no reason for that. We need to bring back the nucleus family, the original holy, the pure holy trinity, man, woman, and child. It's time for us to stop condoning that madness. It's time to stop funding and supporting these people that do that. My grandmother is still waiting on her stimulus check, and they told them first they were going to mail out paper checks, and then they're like, oh no, we're just going to put it on a debit card, digital. How many YouTubers do you know that are millionaires and they've never once met any of their viewers, any of their people? They've probably never held $1 million in their hand, but the algorithms, the buttons, the configurations, you push a button and now boom, you got $1 million. It ain't nothing. It's nothing. So now is the time for you to realize, okay, I can take that leap of faith and I can do something with my mind. I can work with my mind. Now is the time where your mind, the more your mind grows and expands, the more vast your experience in this life will be. But if you still hold on to the old ideals of shit, of 2012, 2011, 2010, 1970, 1980, all them, if you still hold on to that stuff, you're still going to be stagnant. You're going to be left behind. So it's time to start working on you. Start eating healthy, regardless of what you believe in, regardless of what you do, regardless of who you are. If you are religious, if you are spiritual, whatever it is, we can all agree that in our beliefs or in our knowledge, energy never dies. Energy can only be transferred. Okay? Whether you go to heaven, whether you go to hell, whether you come back, whether you're reincarnated, whatever. But we can all agree that our energy just moves and is manipulated. So it's been proven that animals have emotions. And what are emotions? Just energy and motion. Okay? So if you're eating animals, or if you're eating foods that are processed, that also are made of energy. It took energy to make them. It's just energy in another form. When you're eating those things, now your body is being made of those things. You're going to be filled with fear and sadness and anger, because that's what that animal was feeling before their life was taken. So it's time to start eating better. It's time to start saying, no, we're not going to support these people who torture these animals. No, we're not going to support the police brutality. No, we're not going to fund these companies that aren't putting back into our neighborhood. No, we're not going to keep externalizing our power. So when you start realizing that everything you do is connected to everything, now you say, okay, now you can grasp a little bit better and you can live a little bit happier and you can respect people a little bit more. It's time to start respecting people for whatever it is that they may believe. That's one. Because if we can start with that, then you can now be more receptive to loving someone, and therefore loving yourself first. It's time to stop holding on to those old beliefs from these wicked religious believers that's been found for doing horrible, wicked things. These people put fear in your face every day, in the news, in the TV, in the newspaper. It's fear, fear, fear. No one talks about how your brain works, or it's found to be boring. No one talks about how can I learn and retain stuff. How can I be a better person? How can I get rid of these thoughts that make me want to kill myself? Like, that's not held on a platform. But these dumb behind people are. It's time to let that go. So, anyway, I hope I made sense. I hope y'all got it. I hope y'all understood what it is that I'm trying to say. It's a spiritual war right now. This coronavirus pandemic is not the real thing that's happening. These people are fighting to keep control over you and your mind and your life. They're fighting to keep the old paradigm of working every day, not loving yourself, not loving your life, not traveling, not saving, just be dependent. Let us think everything. What did you say, babe? Paradox. Yes. Well, paradigm too. But yes, they're keeping you trapped in paradox. Yes. It's time to let that go, because that's not what life is meant to be. And now is the optimum time for you to do that. Now is the optimum time for you to say, you know what? I'm going to become a better person of me, and I'm going to pursue my happy. Jada and Will could laugh about that shit because they've worked through it as grown adults. I'm not saying the hurt and the pain isn't still there. You see it in Will's face, boy. Will's face, his eyes was red. He was puffy. Oh my goodness. You know, if you know me, I used to love Will Smith. I no longer can subscribe to the foolishness, but you know what I'm saying? That's what a grown relationship is. That's how, when you say, okay, well, you know what? This is what we're gonna do. So this is how it is. It's time to start moving more like that, without judgment, and let it be. So back to my course I go, but I just wanted to pop in and talk to you all. You know, seriously, it's time to start fortifying yourself on every level. Because right now, if you do that, if you start believing in you first and stop judging people for what it is that they do, and you start realizing that you can make the world a better place by being a better person, if you do that right now, you will get a level up. It's like you're going to get a supercharged battery, and you're going to go from level 3 to level 5, and it's going to be like that amazing. It's like a slingshot happening right now. So it's time to get on that. It's time to start eating better, meditating, focusing on you, turning off these TVs, turning off these gadgets. Before you wake up in the morning, stop picking up that phone. Stop thinking about what you didn't do yesterday. It's a time to be present. It's a time to be mindful. It's a time to start thinking about other people and how they may fare in certain things, and finding out how you can help people be great as well. It's time to start helping each other. Time to prepare your bodies for that. Yeah, exercise, eat well. My smoothie. This is my sacral chakra smoothie. It's amazing. I put mango. Well, my daughter made it. Mango, pineapple, ginger, dragon fruits, and guava juice. Amazing. Okay, so that is it. I gotta go back to my course. I will catch up with you all later, you beautiful people. Yes, Empress, vitamins, supplements, all of that. All right, later, y'all.